you're wondering, it's like, why does Lawrence Gilman not have a GM job in the NHL? That's because Lawrence Gilman would be taking a pay cut.
Oh yeah.
Like if I were the Flyers, that would be the guy I'd be calling. Lawrence Gilman has done amazing work. You look at the Bunting contracts, you look at the value he has helped find, and the cap shenaniganery that they're still able to pull off because of him. Why is he not a GM? Well, because all the pressure and none of the money. Yeah. If you simply, and this is where it's so funny. This is what Alan was talking about when we talked about the luxury cap. He's like, listen, you have a bunch of players on LTIR that teams are just hiding, like the Canadiens, like the Tampa Bay Lightning last year, like the Leafs forever and ever, and they're not getting taxed on those player contracts. So the small market teams see no benefit, and the big market teams continue to outspend them. What if we taxed that?
And when you say tax, you mean taking money and putting it back into the smaller market teams.
That's right. So if you're a big market team, and it doesn't matter who's injured, if Shea Weber's injured and he's injured for the remainder of his contract, it's too freaking bad. You're getting taxed on that. Mm-hmm. And that money is going to the Coyotes and everybody else who doesn't make money. By the way, do you know what an equalization payment looks like? Do you know how much actually gets paid out to each of the small market teams for that?
No.
$5 million.
Oh,
that's it?
That's it. So if you think the salary cap is really helping your small market team with $5 million,
well, even
that's not a great equalization payment, man.
Even look at what the Leafs are doing right now with Jake Muzzin. So in order to get the most LTIR benefit, they have to do what?
Bring up more people.
Get closer to the cap.
Yes.
So this mechanism of the salary cap forces teams, or incentivizes teams to spend more money. The salary cap is to do the exact opposite of that. But because of the salary cap, the Toronto Maple Leafs are spending more money than they were yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's dumb.
If you don't think big market teams have advantages in other ways, like you're totally wrong on that. Because if you go to the training facilities of the Leafs, if you go to the coaches that they have the access to, and just the all the extracurricular things that players in big markets have, smaller market teams don't have those. Like there are inherent advantages just to being worth more and having more money.
Hanging on to great assistant general managers.
Yeah. I interviewed Tobias Lindbergh when shortly after he became a Leaf. He was traded to the Leafs in the Dion Phaneuf trade with the Ottawa Senators. And I was like, what's the difference between, the wherever, I think the Sens were still playing in Binghamton at the time, and the Marlies. And he's like, the Marlies goalie coach travels with them. Wow. I think it was the goalie coach. It was either goalie coach or video. You know what I mean? Like, imagine you're a goalie going through a slump. And gosh, I would just like a refresher with my goalie coach, like just to clear my mind. But you're on a 7-game road trip and it's game 1 and the goalie coach doesn't travel. You know what I mean? 7-game road trips are not out of the question in the American League.
Yeah. Video call. So
I guess whether it was goalie coach or video coach, I believe it was goalie coach. It's enormous advantages for the big market teams.
Mm-hmm. And there's a reason they put in that rule, what was it, 2 years ago, about off-season training and teams not using the facilities, because the big market teams could fly guys around and allow them to use all the practice facilities. And they're like, nope, you can't have the big market teams spending the money that they have.
That was the corniest damn thing.
What, do you remember that?
The Leafs.
Yeah, I do.
Just because the Leafs were doing it?
It's just because the Leafs.
Oh,
It was. When the Leafs do something, people find out about it. If Philadelphia had done that, another big market team, or New York had done that, another big market team, nobody would have batted an eye. But because it's the Leafs, and because remember they hired NHL refs to come in and ref games too?
Yeah, and they had to shut it down.
Oh, you can't do that.
No. Well,
why?
Like what if, like in a luxury tax world, the Leafs could do their thing. They could continue doing what they do. And on the receipt, instead of gratuity, it's shut the fuck up. Here's the shut the fuck up payment where we do what we want and you shut the fuck up for a small fee. And maybe with this small fee, you could shut the fuck up and get good and do it yourself. You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, and also think of the meme capital. If there's luxury tax, and the Leafs could start paying teams to beat them. Think of the jokes, everybody. You're cheering for this for the jokes. Imagine not having to rely on 2004 and 1967 jokes forever. You can say, you paid us to beat you.
The Senators get paid a $20 million payment from the equalization, and then they beat the Leafs in the playoffs. Imagine the jokes.
You helped us re-sign Connor Brown. Hilarious. Like stuff like that. Stuff of that nature.
The Flyers, not only is Chuck Fletcher spending your money, but so are we.
Yeah. Like, hey, with the luxury tax, the Leafs pay Nikita Zaitsev anyway. You know? Things of that nature.
All right.
You know, if Phil Kessel sticks around with the Coyotes, guess what? He's still on payroll. You know, there's just, why aren't we doing this? Let us pay you.
I forget who made this point. I think it was a couple of years ago who originally made this point, but the way NHL franchises are run is so the opposite of way every regular business is run, because there are regulations in place that are limiting these businesses from becoming bigger businesses and expanding their market size and being better businesses and making more profits. So they're in normal business world, if you wanted to spend more money in advertising because that'll get you more sales, you can just spend as much advertising dollars as you wanted to get more sales. But in the NHL, they're not allowing you to spend more money on players so you can have a better business and get more profits. They're just limiting these guys from running their teams to the maximum ability of the team for no reason.
Yep.
Other than competitive balance, which I don't think it works at all.
No,
anyways.
I mean, listen, the bad teams are still poorly run.
Yeah.